Bang! Neeves Knives. I'm Jared. My lovely wife Kara's busy. And today we're talking about S45. So I am about to sharpen this. And this will be the first time I've sharpened S45Vn. This knife is in for sharpening. It looks like it has a work sharp Ken Onion belt edge on it. You know, the electric belt sharpener from Work Sharp, because it's a convex belt sharpened edge. That's what it looks like to me. So we're going to put a freehand edge on here and see what I think about this steel. Now, first off, I want to thank OG for allowing me to film this. He sent this knife in for sharpening, and he allowed me to film this. So, and that required me to hang on to it a little bit longer than I would normally for just a sharpening job. And I appreciate that very much. So thank you for that. And I want to say that I didn't know what to expect from S45Vn. I had never sharpened it before, and I started sharpening it on my venev diamond stones. I started with 160/125 micron. And if you don't know, diamond or venev diamond stones are basically a resin bonded diamond. Each side has a micron rating between two numbers. So the first one I started with is basically, you could categorize it around like 240 grit, something like that. It's 165 micron to 125 micron. When you flip it over, the other side is 100/80 micron. And then I progressed to through the stones, the final stone being 3/2 micron, which basically is 5,000 grit. Now, starting the sharpening off, it felt really good on the stone. It felt very similar to like S35Vn starting off. Now, let me just say, I personally, from my experience, I like S30V a little bit better than S35Vn. I like S35Vn, but I like S30V a little bit better. Now, S35Vn, in my experience, doesn't do good with a polished edge. It seems like after about 20/14 micron, it starts falling off. It starts losing that level of bite that you want from a polished edge and gets slick, where you can just like rub your fingers back and forth. It does great at around 50/40 micron, which is basically about 600 grit. It does great, but then once you're past about, I don't know, 1,000, 1,200, 1,500 grit, it starts dropping off. So in my opinion, S45Vn does great between 600 grit and like 1,200 grit. It does great. But S30V, on the other hand, polishes very well. You can take it all the way up to 5,000 K and above, and it does great, and keeps that good level of bite. So with this, I didn't know what to expect, but starting it off, it felt, the grit went on the steel really well. It removed steel very well. It sharpened up pretty easily. And as I progressed through my stones and I got to the 20/14 micron, which would basically be the point of which, it's either going to do good with the polish or it's not. And it did good. It did very well. So I knew I could go on to my next stone. And as I progressed through the next two stones, it did very, very well. Now, we'll take a look at the edge I put on there. And you'll notice there is a little level of grit still on the edge. Just a little bit. I mean, it's a mirror edge, but it still has a little bit of grit on there because I did not scrub that out. I wouldn't say and remember, this is just one experience, so it could be different between companies, between heat treats. I can't speak on all S45Vn, but from this first experience, it seems like it polishes pretty well. Now, I didn't want to polish all the grit out 100% to the point to where it had, no bite at all, because I think it might have. Now, like I said, it did good, but not quite as good as S30V, in my opinion. I think S30V, and I've done a lot of S30V, so I've only done one of S45Vn. So will it do better? Like, if I went above 5,000 grit, would it start dropping off? Possibly. I don't know. I only took it to 5,000 grit. So at 5,000 grit, it did very well, but I did not scrub all the grit out to the point to where it was like an absolute mirror. And I felt like if I did, it might have lost that level of bite that you want from a mirror edge. Let me wipe this thing off. But deburring it. So from other stones, because from my lower stones, I did deburr it a couple times just to see how it deburred, because on my high polishing stones, you don't really need to deburr. You just have to strop it a couple times. You don't really get a burr from 3/2 micron. But it did deburr very good from my lower grit stones when I tried it on there. So it feels like it deburrs very well from this specific one. Not, I can't speak on other companies or other S45Vn, but this one deburred very well. No problems deburring. Now, with the level of, or with like a 600 grit edge, I think it would do great between 600 grit and, like, I went up to 3/2 micron. So if you were looking at micron, you would say 50/40 micron to 3/2 micron. It seems like it does great. Or 600 grit to 5,000 grit. It seems as if it does great. Now, like I said, I did leave a little bit of grit on the edge to keep a little bit more bite that I did not want to lose, which I possibly could have lost if I would have scrubbed it, a little bit more, or if I would have kept it on the stone longer. But all in all, I like the steel. I do think it's a good steel. I think it sharpens up really good. I think it sharpens up pretty easily. I can't speak on its edge retention, toughness, or anything like that because I haven't used it. But from a sharpening standpoint, it does take a great edge. It takes a good polished edge. And if the owner would rather me put a toothy edge on this, I have no problem taking it back to the stone and putting a 600 grit finish on this, because I think it would do great at 600 grit. I know it will do great. It felt ridiculously sharp at 600 grit. So I think that it's a steel that you know, regardless of the type of edge you want, it should perform. It should do good. You know, it should do good whether you like a polished edge or a toothy edge, which is great to hear. It's good to know, because sometimes a lot of steels only do good with a toothy finish. Some do good with the polish, and some steels do better with the polish, and some steels do better with a toothy. I mean, it just kind of depends. Now, like I said, I do think that S30V might take a little bit better of a polished edge, but this is my only experience. So as of right now, I can't really say that. That's a maybe. But I do know from Hinder's S45Vn, it does sharpen up good from a toothy finish or a polished finish. It seems like it'll take whichever edge you like, and it does it well. It's easy to sharpen. It seems really good using diamond. So, yeah, all in all, I do like it. I'd like to experience it a little bit more, so hopefully in the future I do get some more S45Vn. Since I like different steels, I like to be able to sharpen up different steels and really feel how they are different and how they sharpen up different and the different stones that affect them differently. And yeah, so I'm happy that I got to try out some S45Vn for the first time. And yeah, it seems like it's a good steel, at least from a sharpening standpoint. So there you guys go. I love you guys. Thanks for watching. OG, thank you. Peace.